Okay, I'm going to take a few minutes and talk about how I process negatives. So if you go over here, you'll notice I actually scanned 4,600 negatives. This is the entire negative collection of my father's photography over the 20th century and my analog film photography in the early part of the 21st century. In 2005, I bought a digital camera. I bought a DSLR, and then I went from film to digital in 2005. But before then, I've got lots of photos from the late 20th and then early 21st century. So what I did was as soon as I got the negatives, the first thing I did is, you can see I took a photo of, I took a photo of what it was. This says home, kids, kitchen in June of 1999. So that's really important, because if I take a look at these photos, I couldn't possibly tell. But it was a precursor. When I wrote this down on, basically I took the slides, negatives, I put them in negative storage, and I just simply, in the negative storage, it allowed me to write on the top of the negative storage slips what it actually was. And that's what I did. I did not write those soon. So the first thing I'm going to do is, I realized that this is going to be June of 1999. And it's basically, the subject is home and kids and the kitchen, etc. and so forth. So I'm going to highlight the first roll. And by the way, I have all the equipment that I've listed about what I did in links below, so you'll be able to see. So I took the entire roll, so you can see I took a picture of every single slide. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, I'm going to basically first create a collection. I'm going to click create a collection, 1999 06 kids family, and I'm going to include the selected photographs. So now I have them in a collection. As you can see, that's what I'm doing. So there's kids family, there you go. So now that I have them all highlighted, I'm going to go to the develop. And I'm going to take a look at one of them, and I'm going to do this up here and down here. And you notice the top band, this is all overblown white. I'm going to ignore it. And I'm going to get down to that. Okay. And now it appears to me that many of my photos were taken upside down. So I'm going to do the command and buttons, as you can see, and you'll notice that it's right up. And that might not be true for all of them, but I want you to notice below on the bottom that they are, in fact, as you can see, all being edited at the same time. The next thing I noticed is, you see how the lettering is backwards? See, it's 200-6 Kodak. I don't know if all of them are, but I'm going to take a quick scan of them and see, and it looks to me like a lot of them are. Okay, so I don't want my photos to be backwards. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to go up to photo, and let's see if I can remember row flip horizontal. Is it flip horizontal or flip vertical? I keep forgetting. Okay, so now this is going to make the photo positive and not obviously mirror. So I had it in mirror mode, but I don't. So now the next thing I'm going to do is slide the blue. Because it's blue and it's a negative, normally in a positive you go toward blue in terms of temperature to get more blue. The opposite is true in a negative. In a negative, you go towards the blue to get rid of the negative. And I'm looking for natural tones. I'm looking for the white to be more white. And I notice then the next thing I do is I go for the green, and I try to balance between green and magenta. Okay, so that's where it is. That to me looks normal. The next thing I do is go right to the shadows, and I pull it all the way to the right. Now normally the right for positives means brighter shadows, but it means the opposite. So I'm going to kind of go and look for the proper lighting. As you can see, it turned more blue. That's okay. But I'm going to bring there to about there, and then I'm going to adjust the blue a little bit more. And that to me is the photograph. And then maybe a little bit less green. And there we go. That is actually the photograph. From that point, I have to decide how much grain there is. So I might focus in and see a little bit of grain here. So one of the ways to get rid of the grain is to do this, is to move the slider a little bit. But there's another way to do grain. And I don't want to do this with every single photo. At this point, I'm going to crop. I can only do cropping one at a time. So then I hold the command button and then click the first picture number one, and then go back to picture number one. Oh, there's one other thing I forgot to do. I'm going to highlight all of them. I'm going to right click, and I'm going to go to set color label, yellow. Now I'm going to explain why I do that. If I go back to all of my photos, and you can only get to all of my scanned photos, back to the library mode, get out of collections and go back to folders, you'll notice that there's yellow. I know yellow has already been put in a collection. Because I have 4,600 photos, it's hard for me to know which ones went into collections and which ones I haven't done, because I can't do all 4,600 in one sitting. So I literally have to, in a sense, bookmark where my last photo was that I put in a category. And the way I do it, and by the way, I don't always go linearly. I might jump ahead and then come back later. But what I do is, if I put this in a collection on the bottom, on the left here, if I've dated the photograph and put it in a collection, by the way, the collections will end up being albums that I'll upload to Flickr, I will color it yellow to know that I am done. Now, I may not be done with actually editing the photo, but at least I've been done with putting the photo in a collection. Okay, as you can see, these are the newly yellowed photographs. All right, this is what we did. All right, so let's go back to my collection again, and then we're going to go ahead and edit each photograph. And I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. There's the kids and family. Let's start with number 1, and I'm going to basically crop it. So I'm going to start with 1. I just double clicked it. I'm going to press the R button, and I'm going to do this. And this is essentially my photo. I don't care about getting to the perfect edge, but I'll get that far. And that's the point where I'm going to look, okay, well, maybe I could just get a little more clarity there. Maybe I can, here's the clarity button, maybe a little bit more clarity. Okay. I'll play with the dehaze a little bit. As you can see, it adds, it doesn't do much, so I'm going to put it right back to 0. Okay. I might muck with the blacks and whites. That makes it a little dark, as you can see. I don't know that I need to do that with this. And this also adds a little more clarity. So I'm pushing my whites to the right, which normally brightens a positive, but now it doesn't. I don't really do much with anything else. I might play with exposure just to see if I can get, but if you notice, you'll get more definition of the photo with a white button. You normally don't do that with a positive, but you do that with a negative. So to me, that is a decent photo. Maybe I'll push a little bit less blue out of it. There we go. That to me is less. Okay, at that point, I'm looking at any type of things that might be, artifacts of the photograph, where I'll press the Q button, and I will use my 2 fingers on a trackpad of a Mac, and I'll just go and kind of get rid of them. And you notice this there, that's there. You notice these little white things. Here's a little line, gonna get rid of it. Some more dots I can get rid of. These to me are artifacts of the actual film and not the picture itself. Here's a little bit more. There's probably more in this, but I don't really need to go over all of it, but you get the gist of it. I'm kind of finding the little places where I could probably make it a little bit nicer. So there you go. That's about it for this. Now, to get rid of the noise. Oh, we got one more. Look at that. By the way, I will use my middle finger and thumb, or actually, I'll go like this, and I'll zoom in a little bit. As you can see with the navigator, I can zoom in. Okay, I'm done. I'm going to press the Q to get out of this mode, and that looks better to me. Okay, let's get rid of the noise. Right click, edit in. This is the next piece of software that I suggest you get. Look at all the software I have. I don't use a lot of it, but I do use Topaz. Topaz is amazing. Go right to the denoise. I have to create a copy because it doesn't work with the native NEF file, which is an icon's raw format. I have to convert it to TIFF first. Okay? Oh, my cat's about to come in. All right, so I'm opening up denoise. Now, this is what I do with denoise. I don't know. There's different profiles. See these different profiles? I don't know which one's going to work better. So I go into comparison view, and I just wait to see which one is better. And it could be that none of them are any better than the other. Okay, the standard's a little washy, but it's actually not too bad. As you can see, I'm waiting for it looks to me like all of them are updated. I'm looking for the updated. So I'm going to go through and navigate towards this just to see. Every time you move it, it resamples and redoes it. I think a lot of these look good. Okay. I like the clear the most, but again, the clear to me is just a little bit more natural. I find this a little on the washy side. That's my opinion. I also like the severe noise, but it's probably a little too much. But they're all really good. So I'm going to go with clear because I think clear does a decent job. So I'm going to double click it. And what it's going to do is bring me back to the clear. It's going to go ahead and update it. I'm looking at it. It looks like nice and clear to me. I can see there's no more noise on the photo. I'm going to click apply. All right. Now this is what's going to happen. Lightroom is going to create both versions. Okay. Both versions. It's going to be the grainy version, which is here. This is the 2 of 2, and the 1 of 2 is the new version. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to right click and get rid of the yellow because I'm going to get it out of this collection. And the next thing I'll do is press the delete button, and that will only get it out of the collection. It won't get it out of the folder. And now I've replaced it with this new version. So I like it. I'm going to continue on with all of these other ones, but essentially that is the bottom line of what I do. Let's see if I can find something else that might be unique. So notice how it's zoomed in a little bit. I'm going to double click and push it out and just take a look to see if there's anything else I need to do with these photos. It looks to me like this is this. Are these the same photos? No, they're not. Okay, so there you go. Really great photos. But I notice that this is a little, you notice how this is a little blue? So one of the things I can do is I can just kind of adjust it a little bit and play with the color a little bit more. Okay. The other thing I can do is if I think it applies to all of them, I can just right click first and last and take a look at that picture of Alex when he was a baby and just adjust all of them, getting a little bit more of that there. That's more natural to me. Okay, and then I'm going to make add a little bit more definition with the white slider. Okay, I think that's good to apply to all of them. I still think it's a little blue, but it's definitely nice. Okay, there you go. So, and then maybe pull the slider in. Okay, that to me looks really, really good. Okay, all right, so now I'm going to unselect it, and I'm going to just kind of go through every single one to see. I'm basically looking right now to see if it's a mirror image or not, because at some point I might have corrected it. Okay, these all look, I'm going to click the command and I'm going to put them all in the upright mode. Okay, that's the other thing I'm going to do, just adjust the photographs. These are really cute. As you can see, this was a mistake, so I'm going to click, first, if I know it's an image I want to get rid of, I first have to get rid of the color label to get it out of the collection, and then just press the delete button. That to me looks a little too magenta, so I'm going to actually pull it towards the magenta. But that makes the little green. That's a tough one. This is going to be a tough one. So what do I do with a photo like this? There we go. I got out of that a little bit. That's a little bit better. That's a little bit better. But I can see it's still a little blue. Yeah, that's a tough one. But I know this rug. This was my home. And by the way, I might just do that as a picture. Boom, boom. This is upright. So that's basically what I'm doing. These are called chair pics. I took pictures of the kids in their chairs throughout their life. I had 4 kids, and I wanted to make sure. That's a gorgeous picture. Okay, this will do a really, really good job getting rid of all of that noise from this picture, the topaz denoise. So I think I'm pretty much done with this. It gives you an idea of how I deal with negatives, and I hope that was helpful. All the equipment I use to make the negatives is available in the link below, so enjoy. Bye-bye.